So in the same spirit of Color and Tumblr and other companies that I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of, I wanted you to meet Jeremie Miller, the co-founder of Singly. So, Jeremie, welcome.
So this weekend, my 8-year-old son was curious what I was doing this week, and I thought I'd try the talk on him. And I got to this slide, and he read it, and he looked at me very intently, and he's like, "Dad, this is really boring." And he picked up his iPad, and he started playing Angry Birds again. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit background about me. I've been writing code for about 20 years now, most of my life. I was raised on a farm in Iowa, grew up there, lived there my whole life, started my own family there, and I've been doing technology from there. So I've been commuting a lot back and forth to the coasts over the years. So most of my coding career has been doing internet-related stuff. And in doing that, I became very passionate about communication and about sharing and how people and how applications trade data back and forth and making sure that there wasn't walls and barriers between that communication. And a part of doing that, I got involved very early with XML, and I created a project called Jabber and developed the XMPP protocol, which to this day it's grown very large. It's actually the dominant instant messaging technology. Most of you probably have some XMPP software on your phones, almost guaranteed on all the computers. It's supported by Google and Facebook for their chat, if you use any of those. It's also, because it does real time and presence, it's been embedded in a lot of devices as well. Like, it's very likely that the temperature sensor in this room is using XMPP to talk to the HVAC system and to the management company to tell them what's going on. So it's basically everywhere. Over 1 billion people are using it in some form, even if they don't know it, every day. So it's very exciting to have seen that infrastructure just grow and evolve over time. So over the last few years, I've seen just this explosion and growth of data and devices and network complexity and people sharing stuff, and been working hard to sort of figure out what infrastructure can we build, what can we do to make this easier. I started a company called Singly, and we're building this thing called a locker for the Locker project. So that's some background on me, and a little bit to connect with what you guys do. So I'm passionate about communication. You guys are passionate about communication. What your job is often is to take these ideas and these things and communicate it to people, and then to go sort of get data both about the people and about how well you communicated and feed that back into the system and make sure you're doing a better and better job all the time. So let's take a little look back through history to sort of connect where I'm going with communication, my passion, and where your passion is in communication. A lot of your history has been like single, few channels and loud messages, and the only way to sort of measure and tell what data you're getting back is by seeing an increase in demand for something. It was very difficult and very challenging. It's gotten, you didn't really know who you were targeting. It's gotten a lot better. Basically, every channel you have is going to give you some demographics. And more recently, there's so much trend towards actually identifying people, having access to their social graph, knowing their own online profiles, and getting more and more data about people. So that's good, and it's still inefficient. And the problems you face are there's this data all over the place about people. They're sort of spreading it all over online. And what's interesting is it's actually a problem people and individuals face as well. They're putting data all over online, and it's a struggle for them to get value out of it as much as it is a struggle for everybody here to sort of collectively do stuff with that data. So it's interesting because I am producing so much data right now, so much more that you don't even see. I have thousands of check-ins on Foursquare. I've burned over 100,000 calories on Runkeeper. I have a whole bunch of my DNA up on 23andMe. I have years of my banking history on Mint. I have over 10,000 Waypoint check-ins that my iPhone did. I didn't even know it. I'm consuming all this media all over the place. I'm watching tons of Netflix and tons of YouTube videos, producing content all over the web. I haven't even been able to keep track of it. I have hundreds of apps on my phone, a lot of them which I use, and they produce all of their own data. So this data is very prolific. And when I get to bring this data together, it's really fun. I mean, even individual experiences are fun, but more and more, all of this data is getting brought together by new apps, combining it and pulling things in from these different silos. And it's very fun and it's very useful for me, just as much as it is when you guys are able to pull data together, it's very useful for you. It's also very valuable to me. It's informing me about the purchases that I make. It's also informing me about what entertainment things I might enjoy, what I'm going to spend my time doing. So this value is also making it very personal to me. Because I'm getting value and I'm creating this stuff and I'm having a relationship online, the personal space around me is starting to extend into the things that I touch and the places that I go online. And because it's become very personal, it's also become sort of like creepy at times when something shows up in my personal space that I didn't invite there. And a lot of people are experiencing that with ads, as you guys are well aware. There's millions of people using ad block because they're sort of like creeped out by this. And it doesn't have to be this way. You know, there's a better way to do this. And that's when you create value. When you don't just sort of take the data and try to stuff something to a person, you actually have a relationship with a person. You work with them to take their data and do something valuable with it, something that they care about. Don't just bring it together for yourself, bring it together for them and provide the value for what they want to do, and they will invite you in. It's combining this value plus the trust that you have in a relationship with a person, that when you let them understand and discover new things on top of their data, and you let them do it easier, and you do this with integrity and respect, and you're very trustworthy, something special can happen, and something special is happening in many different applications already online. And that is that people will invite you in and give you more data back. They will tell you more. Like when you do use the Nike thing, you're giving Nike tons of information about where you run and your activity history, but it's very rewarding to you, and you welcome the value that they're giving back to you. I would happily tell, you know, the different apps about my preferences, about like what cleaning products I use or what food preferences I have, even a little bit of like lightweight medical information, if they do something valuable with it and I can trust them with it. They're transparent in what they're using that data for. If I suspect they're doing something, taking the data and running away with it, or doing something that I didn't invite in the experience, then I start to question it, and I'm not going to give data back into that system. So it's time to step back and start thinking about, are you just taking this data to build value for yourself, then to try to reach the person? Or are you going to go to the person and help them collect the data and build value for them? Because then you have a relationship with that person, and you get to focus on trust, innovation, and generating value. When you open the data that you have up on somebody back to them, you will find that they can bring data back into your life. So an example of this is, just a quick example, and there's examples everywhere, is a grocery store. If I was able to take my purchase history and go to my favorite grocery store, which I trust, I would give them access to my purchase history so that they could find out the only reason I go to another grocery store is to buy almond milk because they don't carry it. Or they could look and see what restaurants I go at, and they could see that I love Italian food, and then they would be able to suggest Italian recipes to me. I would buy more stuff at that grocery store. The other examples are like my activity. If I told them that I was a runner, even if they saw like, hey, I went for a run this morning, they could tell me some really good replenishing foods, or they saw that I had a race coming up. They could tell me what are the meals that runners love to eat before races that really get them prepared. It would be great. I would love to have that data relationship in this simple example. And looking into the future, it's inevitable that we're gonna have devices on us that are gonna know like our blood sugar level. And those devices, if I share that data and get value back, like, hey, you might be feeling a little tired, why don't you come get a smoothie? You know, I would invite that, and it would be a great experience for me. I'm like, yeah, I am really tired. That would be wonderful. So what are we doing to help create this future where everybody's getting value? We're building tools to help people collect all of their data from wherever it is online. Their social media data from their devices, data from like their medical history, their purchase history, their messaging. We're helping build tools that collect all that in one place. We're going to application developers, and we're helping them build really awesome apps on top of this data. we're going to brands and helping them have a relationship with people directly through their data. And we're trying to make this as easy as possible by focusing on value and trust. So what's next? It's moving to this relationship. And we want to help people build these awesome experiences on top of their data. And it's exploding everywhere. There's so much data that it's hard to get a handle around on it. And we're trying to build an open platform where that's happening, equal to everybody. So if I welcome questions from anybody. You can email me, ping me on Twitter. It would be wonderful to hear what you guys think about how to bridge sort of this gap and have a personal relationship with somebody. Thank you.